Good evening. It is September 2nd, 2021. I am the Genius Kev. You may remember I have a degree from Columbia University. I have earned money on multiple continents, and I should be at a Mensa meeting, but instead I am down at Bar Fongool trying to straighten out 4 or 5 of the legit guys. And when I think of straightening people out, the first name that comes to my mind is the King. Michael, how you doing tonight?
Here in my castle, Genius. Doing really well because it's now Bar Fongool, and I am no longer in the hosting duties of the fantasy football show we just did. It's time for me to drink a little Cabo. Who knew that Sammy Hagar was better at tequila than he was at writing Van Halen songs? I didn't know, but apparently he is.
I'm not sure if I knew either, but a guy who would know what was going on in the 80s when Sammy Hagar was trying to run Van Halen after they kicked out David Lee Roth would have to be Brother Ray. Brother Ray, how you doing? What are your feelings on Sammy Hagar?
I can't drive 55. That's all I have to say.
But other than that, every song is love, love. Love the love, 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 love. That's all.
He liked to wear yellow a lot too. I don't understand that. He loved the color yellow.
Well, look at our
yellow.
Look at our background. Our background is all yellow. We got like 3 more guys to get on board. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to do this quick. We're gonna bring in the coach, Coach TJ. How you doing tonight?
Gentlemen,
we're not on the football show, but we miss you.
What's up? I almost jumped on. I really did almost jump on.
And what happened?
The time got away from me. And I looked up and it was 7:27, and I was like, "Well, I'm not doing that."
Was it when we were arguing about the Lions? That would probably keep everyone off the show. And the
log right back off. Oh, we're doing Lions talk. I'm gonna go watch because they got Batman Begins on right now. I was watching it with my son. Excellent flick.
The Lions. I'm not watching this.
All right, John. But someone who is watching the Lions, someone who's watching the Lions offense closely, someone who thinks there's some positivity there is going to make some yards, touchdowns, points in fantasy football. We're going to bring in M1. M1, our Detroit Lions backer. How you doing, Matt?
I'm sick of everything. I'm sick of being asked how I'm doing. I'm sick of Big Stu having the same haircut that I got. And I'm sick of Brother Ray thinking he's smarter than me. And you know what? Take a back seat, Brother Ray. Because you know what happened. You know what happened. Mr. Never Left. Went left again. Went left again.
I don't know if Big Stu consider himself like a challenge to the hairdo, but we got to bring him on. We got to see.
He was trying to take my haircut.
What's up, fellas? Hey, this haircut is not by choice. This is like my only option with the amount of hair I have on my head. So it's not like I'm trying. If I had some hair, I'd definitely grow it out, but I'm stuck with what I got.
All right, gentlemen. So there's 6 of us. So there's 5 of you, plus me hosting. What we're going to do, number one, I would suggest you all refill your drink because the first round is going to go fast. It's going to be a lightning round. It's going to be you on the hot seat with the Genius. And the way I see it clockwise, it's King Michael, Brother Ray, Coach, M1, and Big Stu. You're going to pick an NFL team, and I'm going to ask you questions as if I were the owner of the team. You can be the GM, you can be the coach, whoever you want, and we're going to figure out what's going on in 2021. Do I have any confidence in you? What are our goals? So on and so forth. So we'll probably try to do 1 to 2 teams per person through quickly. If you don't have an answer, you can pass. That's cool, but you're going to pick the team. And then we're going to get into a little bit around Coach TJ's draft. He's got a PPR, 12-team league draft tomorrow night. He and I have been going back and forth on draft strategy. So we're going to stimulate that draft. And then at the end, I'm going to turn it over to the coach. He's going to talk a little NBA, focus around Ben Simmons. All right, so guys, starting off, King, you ready to go? You're on the hot seat. Pick your team.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
All right. Eagles GM. Who's the coach you hired?
I don't know. I'm not quite cognizant.
Why did you hire him?
Well, tell me why I just picked up Gardner Minshew. I don't know anything about that either. I'm very disillusioned. I'm not very bright, obviously.
Eagles fly.
This whole stop
So-
singing. This
All right,
whole
so-
organization I have sucks.
All right, so but you're the GM. You put a lot of this together. What are we looking to do this season? How do I know if we had a good year?
Genius. We put up a statue again of Doug Peterson. I mean, does it look like we know what's going on? And I'm glad Ray got froze like that, you fruit. It's a bad team, bad organization. They've got 400 quarterbacks, no wide receivers. I did it because of goof.
Right.
I did it for a goof. Shits and
We're
giggles.
gonna
That's
move
why
on.
I did it.
You may have missed the point. All right, Brother Ray, pick a team. Who are you?
By the way, this is really working well, Genius.
Yeah,
But,
well, look, I made a mistake. I picked King first. I'm hoping the other four of you are going to put this back on track. You've watched the basketball show. Doesn't work that way.
Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, so Cincinnati, I'm the owner. Let's pretend I'm an owner that actually wants to win. All right, so why did you draft Chase over Sewell?
Because we listened to our prima donna quarterback. We let a rookie dictate our draft strategy, and now he is going to be in a wheelchair probably in like 2 years.
All right, so this season we still have Zach Taylor as our coach. How long do we let him play it out?
Zach Efron? Did you say Zach Efron? Who's Zach Taylor?
Your coach, your
Is he,
Bengals
the
coach.
ball boy, the guy who brings the water out to the players on the field.
So what are we doing this season? Like, the Browns are ascending. Pittsburgh might be stuck. We have Baltimore to contend with. Here we are. I'm tired of being in this position. What are we doing this season to advance?
Getting arrested.
Zach Taylor was a bad quarterback coach for the Miami Dolphins who got fired immediately. I have no idea why he was hired to coach this team. This defense needs to step up because they're a bunch of doormats right now. So we'll see what we get from them, but I think we're going to put up a lot of points and we're going to lose.
And okay, what do you think about Joe Mixon? This is probably his fifth year. What do we do with him? Do we want to keep him around? What should I think about him?
Joe Mixon hates fantasy football, and he hates fantasy football players. So everyone's going to avoid him this year, and he's probably going to win the rushing title. And then after that, he'll be injured.
Cool. All right. You know what, Coach Taylor? I'm not really all that confident. As the owner, Mike Brown, I'm also the GM, so I'm not that confident myself. But you didn't really distinguish yourself in any way, so you're definitely on the hot seat. Coach CJ, pick a team.
Yeah, let's go to the Bears.
All right. So you drafted you drafted Fields. You traded picks. You traded capital. You have this guy, and then we signed Andy Dalton before we got him. I get that. Why is Fields going to be on the bench for Week 1, Coach Nagy? What's going on there?
There's no good reason for it at all, and especially since I'm about to lose my job after this season if we don't win like 11 or 12 games. And actually, I don't even think it's going to matter if we win 12 games if we don't advance in the playoffs. So what I'm really doing right now is saying that I don't want to be in Chicago. I want to start off 0-3. And then once everybody on both sides of the ball just throws in the fucking towel, then I'll put the rookie out there to pretty much get his clock cleaned for the remainder of the winter. So that's my goal going in, and I'm hoping to get a year off after the season.
I thought you were an offensive genius. Didn't you come from the Coach Reed tree?
Yeah, I'm not. My play calling is as boring as every other Bears quarterback and coordinator in the history of Bears football. The last time the Bears did something besides run, screen pass, punt, I do believe I was about 4 years old. So, yeah, Nagy's been a total – I suck at life. I'm going to get my rookie killed after we go 0-3, and Khalil Mack's going to be, he'll throw the towel in about week 5.
All right. So the last question I have, I've heard whispers because I talked to other owners like the Fords and the Crafts. I've heard whispers that you might be holding off starting Fields so that you can then say, I need another year to evaluate him.
Yeah, that's just not going to work, though. It's a stupid strategy if that's my strategy. And to be honest with you, Foles looks better than Dalton anyway. So what I'm really trying to do is take the worst quarterback in my quarterback room, and I'm going to start the season with him, just to make sure that I don't have a job next season.
And you're going to help the Giants get a better pick.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because the Giants they're not going to do anything with it anyway. Neither would we. So what the difference does that pick make?
All right, we don't care about the Giants, coach. We care about Chicago. Like I'm like one of the Wrigley's or whatever I am. I care about Chicago. Supposedly. All right, Mastradamus, what's your team?
He's muted and he looks like he's walking away.
I think that's a Patriots jersey he's trying to show us.
All right.
All right, Mr. Belichick, I'm one of the few people that is not intimidated by you. My name is Robert Kraft. I'm the one with the big cufflinks, the light blue shirt with the white collars.
Loves to get massages.
The limousine parked in front of a strip mall that offers massages. That's who I am. So, Coach, so during the offseason, we lost Scarnecchia, our offensive line coach. We lost Cesario, who was a talent evaluator to Houston. And we lost Ernie Adams. And during all that, you spent a ton of my money on free agent acquisitions. And then you went with a rookie and cut Cam Newton outright. What is going on? Are we going to be in the playoffs this year, Bill?
You told me to cut Cam Newton. My hand was forced. I was going to roll with Cam. You guys told me to go with Mac Jones. That's a fact. Bill Belichick's hand was pushed on that. He wanted to, like Brother Ray say, there was a pact between Cam and Bill, and luckily, a fan of the Patriots and Bob Kraft said, "Enough with this nonsense. I see what I see. This kid can. If you're a fan of the forward pass, you like Mac Jones over Cam Newton." I said that 4 weeks ago. I don't like Cam Newton. I think his shoulders fell off. And I think that Mac Jones presents more of an opportunity for success than Cam Newton. I think we have an easy schedule. I think we can go 3-1 or 4-0 to start out the gate, no matter who we had at quarterback. So now that I got Mac Jones as my starting quarterback, I'm gonna look even better, which made me think maybe it wasn't a bad idea that I got my hand forced. So I like Mac Jones. I like our running game. It becomes a running game again. Now my running back becomes a running back, and my quarterback's not a running back, and I actually can throw the ball. So
can we have points taken off? He doesn't sound like Belichick at all. I mean, not even a little bit.
Hold on.
Well, then
I
it would be this.
I don't understand the question.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
You know what? Kraft didn't like Cam. He rubbed him the wrong way. So,
Oh, Ray. Come on. You rubbed him the wrong way.
Oh, Brother Ray, you singing a different tune? Sing for me, brother.
That's the main one.
All right. So, Mr. Belichick, are we going to be in the playoffs this year? I don't like Buffalo being atop this division. Can we knock Buffalo off, or are we going to squeak in as a wild card?
To be honest with you, it's 0-0. I am only worried about my team, and we are worried about week 1, and we're not really even worried about it because honestly, with having Mac Jones, I can't wait, Brother Ray.
I'm going to stop
because
you there.
I'll tell you right now. What? Go ahead.
0-0 was perfect. I'm only worried about my team. I am now convinced. You transitioned to Belichick for a little while there. All right, I love it. Stu, who's your team?
I'm going to go with the worst team in the NFL last year. And that worst team is not the New York Jets. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, this is easy. All right, so Coach Meyer, you had a violation during the OTAs. You brought in a strength coach from Ohio State that had a background of saying possibly racially insensitive things. You got rid of him 2 days. You brought in Tim Tebow. You wasted a roster spot on a guy that played football in 8 years, then cut him. You had a quarterback competition between Trevor Lawrence, who's supposedly generational prospect, and Gardner Minshew, who's a place filler who you eventually traded. And here we are. I'm Shad Khan, so I don't know a lot about anything. I play in London a lot. I make us play in London a lot. but I have no confidence at all. Coach Meyer, what are we doing?
It's a good question. What are we doing? The fact that he had a quarterback competition for the whole preseason with a guy he ended up trading in Gardner Minshew kind of tells the whole story in Jacksonville. And Shad Khan is probably worrying more about the AEW with his son than anything else at this point with Jacksonville. But, you know, Urban Meyer has a good track record in college, so we'll see what he does with the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. We have a lot of talent. We lost Etienne, but we have Chark, we have Chenault, and we have Marvin Jones, who's been a solid wide receiver. So we'll see. We're going to be better than 1-15.
All right, and Coach, by the way, I forgot to mention this other thing. Also, I think today, maybe yesterday, you mentioned that COVID status of players had an impact on your cuts. Is that true?
That is true. We just couldn't have players on
Stop.
the team.
We're muting Coach Meyer because he did it again. It's a disaster. It's a complete disaster. All right, we're going to go around once more because I think this is actually kind of fun. King, you, or else I'm going to pick one for you if you don't.
The New York Football Giants.
Okay, that's the easy one. So, you know, the Mars have been running this team forever. It's a family business, but we've been losing for the last 4 or 5 years consistently. So, Mr. Gettleman, how are you gonna? How do I know we're actually turning this around? You drafted Daniel Jones. Some people say you paid too much. Your offensive line hasn't been that great. I thought your draft this year was interesting, had some possibilities. You got the new coach. How do I know at the end of 2021 that I shouldn't fire you?
So I'm.
What are your metrics?
All right.
What are your metrics? Gettleman or the coach? Yeah. What are your metrics?
All right. Well, so our defense is probably the best it's been in about 5-6 years, maybe more. Right. We have the best secondary, maybe the Giants have ever had. Period. Go through history, safeties and cornerbacks. Right. Our issue is our offensive line. The offensive line has been an issue for so long that I can't even make up an excuse for Gettleman or the Maras or the Tishes or anybody because I can't understand why they can't fix the fucking line. So we've signed some free agents here right before the season started. They're going to plug some holes. We just need our offensive line to block a little bit, and we will be a playoff team. No one wants to hear me say that, but we have the weapons, receivers. We have a running back that could be the best in the whole goddamn league, right? I made trades with the Bears who are starting the Red Rocket, so I know I'm going to get a really nice extra number 1 draft pick next year. Gettleman has made some really smart moves. That Odell Beckham Jr. trade worked out better for the Giants than it did the Browns, and it's not even close. Not even close.
Then why are we still losing games? Like this season, are we gonna turn it around this year? Are we gonna be a 9-8 team, or are we gonna be a 6-11 team?
We will be battling the Washington football team for the division title because we have the best defenses in the league, and when you block, if we get any kind of offensive line play, we're one of the best offenses in that league. We have one of the best defenses, us and Washington, and then offense, it might be us and maybe like Dallas.
All right,
so we're at the top of both. And special teams were number 1. So this is the year the Giants, I'll go on the record and say, fire me this year if we don't win the division.
All right, so I have one question for you. You had all the leeway in the world to hire the coach. You hired Joe Judge. He was a former special teams coach. Now, as you said, your special teams are number 1, but your offense isn't really doing all that great. Why didn't we look at more offensive-minded coaches? Why is the offense in the hands of Jason Garrett?
That's exactly it. It's not Joe Judge, it's Jason Garrett. Joe Judge is a great head coach. Special teams coaches get to speak to both sides of the locker room when they're putting together the special teams. So he's used to talking to everyone. He's used to going up to players that are receivers that aren't used to playing special teams and convincing them they have to play special teams in this game. That's what Joe Judge does. That's a big thing that he brings.
So that's the logic, right? And I want to have the rest of you guys comment on this. You hear that all the time. okay, special teams talks to offense and defense. How often? They don't design an offensive game plan. They don't design a defensive game plan. Special teams is like 20% of the game. It's like 40% offense, 40% defense, 20% special teams. So when I hear
it
that,
changes though. It changes every week.
When I hear
You got to
that,
go up to different people every week.
I'm not completely
get them to
convinced.
buy in.
So,
Dude, it's hard to get a veteran to buy into playing special teams.
no, that's one thing. But I'm saying in terms of like, if I'm the head coach, as a special teams guy, do I know enough to pull Jason Garrett aside and say, look, dude, you need to motion more. You need more first early down passing. You need different formations, all that stuff. I don't think he does.
Well, he fired Colombo because he didn't like the way he was teaching blocking. So if he knows a little bit about that, then maybe he knows a little bit about offense. I just think they got hamstrung with this friggin' Jason Garrett. Like, I really think it's just like it was just a bad move. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jason Garrett wasn't pushed on Joe Judge by Kamara.
You weren't surprised. He was. He completely was. But I didn't do it because I'm the owner. It's your fault. But you guys, just a quick thing. If anyone has a comment on a special teams coach becoming a head coach, the BS is always they talk to offense, they talk to defense, blah blah blah. I don't believe it, but does anyone else have an opinion on that?
McVay, isn't he one? Ray, who's the other special teams head coach?
Not McVay, no.
Well, who's the other one that's a special teams head coach? I know there's another one in the league, and he's doing well.
Well, I mean, Campbell's a former tight ends coach. I don't know
we talked about him earlier.
All right.
I'll look it up. You keep talking.
All right, whatever. Okay, so moving on to Brother Ray. What's your team?
We'll pick the Dolphins.
Of course, you had to. All right, there's stuff that I'm concerned about, but the biggest thing, General Manager Lepre, is I hear we're in the running for Deshaun Watson. Why are we being talked about that way? Do we really want him? Are we going to give up 3 1s and 2 2s? What about Tua? Like, it confuses me.
Well, Mr. Ross, if you remembered, if you weren't so senile and old, you would remember the conversations when you've been coming in my office saying, we're going to have Deshaun Watson. Just get it done. That's the way we do things in business. You remember those conversations because Coach Flo does not want Mr. 22 count under FBI investigation, Robert Kraft wannabe. You are the one, Mr. Ross, that is pushing for Deshaun Watson, and everyone else is just saying, go back and take another pill. Go watch the People's Court or something. Seriously. Like, go occupy yourself. That would be the stupidest thing we could ever do. We're going to trade 3 number 1 draft picks. We have a young quarterback who's having a great summer, and we're going to completely flush our PR down the toilet so we can take this abuser, this chronic abuser, Deshaun Watson. I mean, he came from Clemson. How can you trust the guy anyway? That is not going to happen as long as I'm here, Mr. Ross.
Well, Mr. Whatever your name is, I talked to my good buddy Cal, and he doesn't want your Tua. You won't even take your Tua. So I don't know what that means. All right, moving on. Coach TJ, who's your team? Pittsburgh. All right. Why did you extend Big Ben another year? Why are we doing this again? What's the dance that we're doing? Why is our offensive line falling apart? Mr. Tomlin, I love the mirror sunglasses. I wish I could pull the look off. I cannot.
Well, here's the thing, genius. My job is the safest job in the history of NFL football. So I can frankly do whatever I want. So I can extend Ben. I can extend Ben for another 5 years. It doesn't really matter because no one gets fired in Pittsburgh. So that doesn't make a difference. The problem is I can draft receivers, but I have an old, fat, slow quarterback that doesn't move anymore. And it doesn't matter how good I am on the outside when I got 3 seconds to get rid of the ball. So, yeah, we develop talent. We draft a running back, which I don't think we really freaking needed. But I guess when your job's as safe as mine, you do what you want.
So how are we going to compete with those boys from Cleveland with that Baker fellow?
Yeah, but that's new stuff, man. I can't do it with the Browns. I just can't do it with the Browns. Like, I've been hearing about the Browns since Bernie Kosar left town. Browns are on the come up. Browns are on the come up. Browns are on the come up. They're not. They're really not. It's, we're still the class of the division. And lucky for me, we're the class of the division because I can mess around with a 72-year-old quarterback and know that no matter what, we're going to be in the hunt for the playoffs when it comes down to it, like we are every single year.
You know what, Coach? This is probably one of the more – this whole segment has been disappointing, but this is probably the top 30 most disappointing performances of the whole thing. I'm very, 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 very.
Hey, Kev,
Yeah.
John Harbaugh, Marv Levy, Bill Belichick.
What about him?
We're all special teams head coaches. Continue.
I don't think anyone ever considered Bill Belichick a special teams coach.
No,
Got his careers
exactly. No.
All right, look it up.
Started their careers.
Look it up.
Started their careers. That's not where they were before they were head coaches.
John Harbaugh was.
Harbaugh was.
Harbaugh was.
He's,
All
yeah,
right.
he
Let's
is.
go on
He's
3-1. All right.
The other
Master
guys-
Thomas,
Yeah, whatever.
your team.
I am the Houston Texans.
Oh God, are you Jack Easterby? Are you Nick Casario? Like what? Like
He's just the whole
I'm
team.
Nick
Kev.
I
Casario.
can't even be.
I'm Nick.
I can't
I'm
be
Nick
counting-
Casario. I'm the GM.
Okay, so you're the GM. How are you going to work with Mr. Easterby? Because I love him. I think he's brilliant. I think he really knows the players. I think he's got a spiritual angle. I think I like what he's doing.
First and foremost, the only reason why we're trying to trade Deshaun Watson is because he is going to play this year. We wouldn't be able to trade him if we didn't know that he was going to play this year. No one would be able to take him. So if he's not going to be tradable, he will play on our team. And Brandon Cooks is going to be a late-round gem. But the only reason why he is going to be able to play this year is because no matter how many women you have come against me, they all got paid. They knew what they were doing. Don't mind my quarterback's business in his private life. Don't do it.
He's
All right,
caught
so-
more cases. He should be on friggin' The Wire. There's no way he plays this year.
There's no way
No
he plays.
way.
He's playing this. He is playing
All right,
this
so-
year.
I mean,
The
string a
hammer
bell.
would've already
Might as well
came down.
string a bell.
Who,
Week one
Mr.
is
Casario,
only a few weeks away. Yes, sir.
What did you see in Coach Cully that inspired you?
Well, we needed to start anew, and one thing that we needed to do is like when Bill O'Brien came through, he gutted our organization. The only thing that we have of value is Deshaun Watson. So we feel if we can get 3 1s and 2 2s, we can start over again. That's why we want to trade him, because we can't win with just Deshaun Watson at our helm. That doesn't make sense. We need to rebuild from the bottom up.
So it's we're going to tear it all down. Tear the entire thing
Tear it
down.
all
Trade anyone that's worth a couple of picks.
But Deshaun Watson is entertaining, and if we can play him, we will. Just like last year.
I don't think we should do that because I think if we're gonna. I don't think he's gonna be able to play, and if he can play, I don't think we should play him so we can trade him healthy.
Listen, if he went and got a masseuse, there ain't nothing wrong with it.
You know what, M1? You know what I just realized? You picked the 2 organizations that have controversial massage policies.
And there ain't nothing wrong with being rubbed down.
All right, last one before we move on to save Coach TJ's draft. Big Stu, who's your team?
I am the second worst team in the NFL last year.
Jets.
The New York Jets.
All right, so I guess you're gonna have to be the GM. What did you see in Coach Saleh?
Coach Saleh had a proven track record with San Francisco. He is ready to take the team to that next level. He drafted a good quarterback, and we brought in Mike LaFleur, and we have new talent. This is a new time for the New York Jets. We got Corey Davis, Keelan Cole, and this is a time where we're not going to stop.
So, Coach Saleh, from what I've heard and what I've seen, in my circles on the yachts and the private jets and the mountains and the whatever, is that his schemes were very basic and they depended a lot on talent. And from what I understand, our team is lacking some of the talent that the 49ers had. So are you confident he's going to be able to put together something with the players we have?
We have talent. We certainly have more talent than we did last year. We brought in, I don't know, a rookie quarterback, Zach Wilson, looked good in the preseason. Strong arm, confident kid, looks good. We brought in Michael Carter, good running back from North Carolina. Certainly better than Frank Gore was last year, that's for sure. And Zach Wilson's a lot better than Sam Darnold was. I mean, he will be anyway. You hope so. And, so it's a situation where we have our defense is better. Quentin Williams got more experience. We have Ashton Davis and Marcus May and C.J. Mosley's back. We lost Carl Lawson, but things are looking up. Things are looking good up in the Meadowlands. That's for sure.
You seem pretty optimistic. Now, I'm kind of an absentee owner, but I should care about winning a little more than I do, and we haven't won a lot. What can I expect this year? How do I know if this year is a success? I'm tired of getting laughed at.
A success may not be the playoffs, but our success is going to be progress. I think if everything comes together, I think we have a chance of being a 500 team. I firmly believe that. People may think I'm crazy, but I think we have some pieces. We don't have, stud players, but we have guys who can contribute, and the guys who've been, good players on other teams. Corey Davis is a good player. He's been a good player. He may not be a household name to the average NFL fan, but he's going to be a good player in New York, New Jersey.
I'm sorry, Mr. Stefano. The season has gone to 17 games, so unless we have a tie, we can't be a 500 team.
I was going to say that.
Can I say something really quick?
Yeah.
I just felt like we were doing like a telethon for like kids that get injured often. Like to hear Stu say that they're finally turning around, or that things are looking better, or that there's anything positive coming out of the Jets organization is sad to me. It almost made me want to cry and stop this part of the show. I was going to quit. Stu. Jets fans, I don't know, man. You borrow our stadium. They're never that good. Like, they're just not.
The Jets are better than you.
This is the beginning of
Jets are better than you.
This is the beginning.
They're going to get 7 wins this year, and you're going to get 2.
Could you guys hear Sarah McLaughlin in the background?
Yes.
When
with the puppy, yeah.
Yes. In the arms of an angel. This is gonna be better.
It's not easy.
My wife hears that song on the TV show, yell from 3 rooms away. Change the channel.
The funny thing is, Stefano, Big Stu, had the best chance of actually getting one of these jobs. Because he just obfuscated bullshit, like the whole thing. We're gonna move in a positive direction. All that. So I asked for a metric. How do I know we're doing better? He didn't give any real numbers.
Progress.
Yeah, progress. Exactly, progress.
Gentlemen,
I hope you enjoyed that. I actually had a good time. I was hoping I was hoping we picked some kind of obscure teams. We did a little bit, but I was ready for the Packers and the Chiefs and everybody else. But I think that was cool. I hope you liked it. Now there's been a debate raging for the last week at least about draft strategies. And Brother Ray, unfortunately, you missed the last show. But Coach CJ drafts tomorrow night in a PPR 12-team PPR league. He drafts from the 7th spot, and we've been arguing what he should do with that pick. And I have some philosophical opinions. Big Stu did. I think he was there for that. Kane was there, and we went from like very traditional approaches to kind of running back zero approaches, and kind of all over the place. So what we're going to do, which is probably a help for most people that would watch, is talk through a draft like this. So he's 1-7 in a PPR league, and I actually set it up in one of the sites I follow that will draft by ADP. So we'll run through the first 6 picks very quickly. I'll share it, and then we'll kind of debate where you should go with each pick. Coach, you ready for that?
Yeah, let's do it. So what it really comes down to is, am I taking a running back in the first round, or am I punting them until the 6th? That's what it really comes down to. Right now, I think I'm leaning towards Adams with the first pick, and I think I'm going to just do it. I'm just gonna say, let me. You know what I forgot to mention last week, guys. We have we don't do a waiver wire from last to first. We do. I have $100 for the year to spend, and if some running back pops in week 1, I can go ahead and buy him for like $40 on Monday because everybody's too scared to spend all their money. So that's kind of where I was at. So, this is 4 for 4, huh?
Yeah, you got to. You probably have to maximize it a little bit, but if you like maximize your screen, you can see McCaffrey, Cook, Kamara, Henry, Elliott, Kelsey. You're up.
So guys, right here, it's either Eckler or Adams that's going to make the decision of how the entire draft's going to play out. Anybody disagree with that?
I took Adams tonight, and I had number 7 in a draft, and it was the same scenario.
All right,
your batting average on these fantasy leagues, right? Is it halfway decent?
So, King, you were more of the old school guy. You were more the running back guy. What are your thoughts at 1-7, knowing who just went?
Well, you just called me the old guy, and I can't tell it all who went because I can't really read the screen because I didn't bring my glasses with me. So, if we're talking about who's left, Eckler, who are you comparing?
So it was
Adams and who?
McCaffrey, Cook, Kamara, Henry, Zeke, Kelsey.
Saquon hasn't gone?
No.
I don't know. I'm a running back guy. I can't buy into this. I would go with Saquon, or I would look around to see who else is left as far as running backs and solidify one of those guys.
All right. Well,
that first round, they're going to be done. Those top tier backs.
All right. So you're leading running back. That's cool. I want to ask the other two with the first round pick. We'll go Big Stu first. 1-7 redraft league PPR. Where do you go?
I would go with Jonathan Taylor. I think he's a good pick at 1-7. I think he's got a lot of upside. He's a young back. I think he's going to have a good year this year. Not a lot of competition from him in Indianapolis. I think he's going to have a good year. I think it'd be a good pick at 1-7.
All right. M1. You're muted. You're
muted. Yeah. You're muted, Matt.
I disagree with Big Stu. I think that Marlon Mack is back. They got Nyheim Hines. I would go with Devontae Adams right there. Yeah.
All right. So I would go Adams. Ray would go Adams. I think Coach would go Adams, and then M1 Adams. So it's like 4-2 on wide receiver, which is interesting because most of you guys the other night were bigger on running back first.
Not at 7.
I never changed, Kev.
You know what it was, Kevin? It was just me, you, and Mike last Thursday.
Okay. All right. So let me put this in. We're gonna do it. We're only gonna do a couple of rounds. So I just want to see how this actually plays out. All right. So Adams. All right. So it kind of rocketed through. So we take Adams. It goes Aaron Jones, Tyreek, Saquon, Chubb, Eckler, Hopkins, Ridley, Najee, Stephon Diggs, Jonathan Taylor. And now it's back to us.
So here's where I want to throw my beer across the table, right? Because my concept with the 0 wide receiver running back strategy would be to get Adams and then also get Ridley or Diggs, back him up. And if I do this now, I end up with Adams and Justin Jefferson. I don't think I'm going to feel as happy. I just don't feel like I'll be happy. And I don't like Gibson. We already know we don't like Mixon. What do you guys think over here?
Yeah. All right. So
what's not to like with Jefferson? I mean, coming off his rookie year, in that offense, he's the number 1 now. Thielen's going to fade into the background. I think it still works if you wanted to go that direction. Is DK still there? Is DK still there too?
Yeah. He's still there.
I probably It shouldn't come to this, but I like Keelan Allen too.
I'd get cold feet, get a running back.
Wait, so sorry, King. So you would go running back?
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, I would take a running back right here. I'm not a big fan of that whole wide receiver thing.
Yeah. So which one would you take?
I already said who I would take.
I didn't hear it. Say it again.
Saquon Barkley.
Oh, he's gone. It's to
I can't see that.
So now we're in the second round.
second round.
So
it's
who's after Mixon as far as running backs? Give me the top 3 running backs left.
Gibson, Mixon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Montgomery, James Robinson, Chris Carson.
All right. So who and the top 3 or 4 running back wide receivers?
Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen, DK, AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin, Allen Robinson.
Is the kid left, the tight end left from Atlanta?
Pitts is still there. Waller's still there.
Lord.
Kittle's still there. Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, then Pitts.
I would throw a curveball and go with a tight end there. I'd either go with Pitts or what's his face, the other one that was still left, Kittle.
Waller. All right.
I'm not a big Waller guy.
See,
what pick is this?
2-5.
Yeah.
2-6 actually. This is the interesting thing about the draft. Like this,
you can't go
because if you're going to go running back 0 and you're going to hit wide receiver hard, you can't be uncomfortable with the next pick. The next pick has to be a wide receiver. It's got to be like either Jefferson or DK, and you go. If you take a running back now, you're off the strategy, and now you're just like fumbling around.
I did Adams and Kelsey tonight, back to back at 7.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You're a pig. You're a gross pig.
The 10-team league.
Big Stu, what do you think?
I'm trying to mute him. There he goes.
Oh, was I on mute?
Yes, you were.
Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer. I think you either go Metcalf or Jefferson, whichever one you like better. I mean, I think DK Metcalf could probably be the best wide receiver in football in the NFL this year. And Jefferson is certainly on that way to being one of the top. He's already one of the top wide receivers. I'm talking like one of those top 5 receivers, Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson was awesome in LSU. I would probably go with DK Metcalf, though, just because he's a little safer.
All right. So, M1, I don't think you said yours yet.
It's funny because I've seen many people take DJ Metcalf as the number 1 wideout.
Yeah.
To me, that's weird. I understand it, though. I understand it. He has dominated cornerbacks throughout. He's big. He's strong. He's nothing like I thought he would be. He is everything that you want in a wide receiver. Big, physical, dominant. I wouldn't take him number 1 overall. I would go with Devontae, and I would even put Justin Jefferson ahead of DK.
All right, so we got Devontae in the first round. In the second round, you get DK as your second wide receiver, but you still have no running backs. Like that's.
I would rather go. I would go running back. If I went wide receiver with Adams, I'd go running back right away.
I don't think you can go wide receiver, running back. It's more set up this year to be like you go running back, wide receiver.
Yeah, and
we're talking about out of the 7 hole, aren't we?
Right.
Yeah, so the first round we picked Adams. It came back to us. The running backs left are Antonio Gibson, Joe Mixon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, David Montgomery, James Robinson, or Chris Carson. Would you take those over Jefferson, Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, McLaurin, or Allen Robinson?
Yeah,
if you go with Adams number 1, you go with Gibson in the second round.
All right, interesting. All right. So, Coach, you heard it all.
Yep.
Where do you go?
Here's the thing. I'm looking at teams 1 through 6. They've all taken a running back, right? I know none of these receivers are coming back to me at all. There's a chance one of those running backs that I'm looking at right now may get back to me in another round or 2. So, to me, the smart play here is to take Justin Jefferson and then let the mat play out.
All right. So we'll go with Jefferson. Hold on, let me do the other screen. No, this is the last round. We're going to do 3 rounds because I want to turn it over to you, Coach.
And Ray can bitch.
All right, so Jefferson next. Hopkins went, Ridley went, Najee went, Diggs went, Taylor went, and then Kittle, Keenan Allen, Edwards-Helaire, Terry McLaurin, Allen Robinson, Josh Allen. Now it's back on us. So we'll stop after the 3rd round. So we have Devontae Adams, we have Justin Jefferson. And we're on the clock right now. Do we finally look at running back now, or do we keep going wide receiver, or do we try to sneak a tight end in?
So in my draft prep, what I was thinking, Allen Robinson seems to fall to this spot a lot. And if I could get Allen Robinson right here and just have 3 rock-solid wide receivers, I would do it. The way this draft played out and Chris Carson's still there right now, I'm not mad at Chris Carson to be able to get him right now on the way back. But then I always feel like you're kind of you can't abandon the strategy in the 3rd round. Like it's a strategy is a strategy. So if you take Carson here, you almost should have taken a running back in the 1st round if you're going to just grab one now. Like to me, I want to go receiver, or receiver, 3 receivers and a tight end, some version of that. So that's kind of the way in my brain. That's what I plan on doing. Would you guys go 3 rounds without a running back? Is the question. And I know Mike's answer is hell no.
Yeah, like for me, what I'm going to say is what you just said is exactly right. You can't break a strategy this early because now all of a sudden you're overpaying for Chris Carson when the right move is probably to grab CeeDee Lamb. So now you have Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and you're like crushing it, and just accept the fact that your first running back is going to be another 2 rounds from now. But if you switch now you're not doing anything. Now you have a bad running back, and your advantage is lost. You kind of have to pick it early. But again, enough of me talking. Brother Ray, what would you do right here?
I would go wide receiver. It's what I did tonight. It's the exact formula I did tonight. I did Adams. I came back with Kelsey, and then I went A.J. Brown.
How many people were in the league? 6?
10.
Oh, 10 makes a difference.
It does. It definitely makes a difference, but
it does.
Still, I mean, if you look at what's on the board, though, CeeDee Lamb, you got Woods. I mean, is there going to be any difference in the running backs you get the next round than what you would get now?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Big Stu, where are you at right now? Is this like right now? He's got Adams. We got Jefferson. Are we in like an area that's uncomfortable, or are you cool with where we are now and you're ready to make a pick?
At this point in the draft, maybe I'm old school. I want to get a running back here. I feel like this is the last round where I could get one of those higher tier running backs. And I know there's Carson, and I know there's like Kareem Hunt. I would honestly, I think I would go with Josh Jacobs here. I think Josh Jacobs could have a good season this year, and he's still young. So if I could get a value pick in Josh Jacobs here, I don't know. I think that would be a good pick in the 3rd round.
All right.
I like it.
Yeah, that's actually interesting because Josh Jacobs should have a huge role in the offense. So I want to ask King first, then M1, then we'll make the pick, and we'll wrap this up. King, your thoughts?
Let me make the screen as big as possible. I don't know. I'm with Stu. I could not go 3 rounds of no running back. I'd look at James Robinson. I'd look at Gus Edwards. Guys that may get you more points. Like I just really would. I mean, there are some receivers up there like a CeeDee Lamb and stuff like that, and Deontay Johnson would be a great pick right there. You'd have great 3 great wide receivers, 3 number 1s. But when are you going to get a running back? Because after this round, that's when Myles Gaskin starts to move his way to the top. And nobody wants – I don't know anybody who's out to get Myles Gaskin.
No, very, very, very true. All right, M1, your final thoughts on where we are now. This is only 3 rounds. So we got the 2 wide receivers. You see the board. What do you do here? Running back, wide receiver, tight end, what?
There's only 2 options. It's either David Montgomery or James Robinson. I think I'm going to go with David Montgomery only because I like James Robinson, but I think Carlos Hyde is the better back between the 2.
Wow.
Best back in the nation, pass catching. He keeps going to teams where he wants to take over. They draft Travis Etienne. He takes the 3rd role. He wanted to split carries with James Robinson. I personally believe James Robinson is going to be the ball hog. He's going to tote 1st, 2nd down. Then you're going to have Carlos Hyde come in on 3rd down. But after every coach wants to win the game. You want the best players in the game. Carlos Hyde is better than James Robinson. If you can take Carlos Hyde with your last pick, do it. He's going to split carries with James Robinson all year long. You have to go running back here. You can't keep going wide receiver as much as you want to. I love CeeDee Lamb. I'd take CeeDee Lamb here in a heartbeat, but I can't have 2 wide receivers and a tight end. I need a running back. And to me, it's got to be a running back.
All right. Okay. Yeah, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to talk through.
I would definitely talk about Montgomery here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think he's the most overrated running back probably out there. Can you guys hear me? Looks like I froze. He basically padded his stats at the end of the season last year against some bad football teams. I just don't think he's. I think Damian Williams may end up playing ahead of him at some point this year. I am not a Montgomery fan.
All right.
You're right about him padding his stats, but what you're not mentioning is that he had off-season surgery, and it took him about 8 weeks until he was like running at full speed again. So to me, there's a mix of the two things, and I think you're going to get 1,100 yards out of David Montgomery this year. I don't know how many touchdowns he's going to score because they're terrible at getting the ball from the red zone to the end zone. That's not something they do in Chicago. But no, he's a talented kid. If he wasn't hurt last year, he was like, the hype was real with him. Like the hype was real with Montgomery coming into last season till the operation.
And by the way, you mentioned this a week ago, or maybe on Sunday. It all comes down to the last 3 weeks. You talk about his schedule. He nailed it, and he ran Steve to a championship.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's the crazy thing. I don't know what his schedule looks like this year, but you're right. I was never big on that guy ever. And last season, what was his thing, and now he's pushed way up.
And I think Fields will hurt him because Fields going to get in there eventually, and he's going to run the ball. So I think that's going to take away from his rushing numbers as well. But I mean, when he came out, I liked him because he could catch the ball in college. He looked good as a runner. Wasn't super fast, but he was he was good vision. But I mean, I wasn't impressed with him early in the year. Maybe it was the injury. We'll see this year, but I mean, I don't know. I think he could be had.
All right, gentlemen. So we're going to make a decision because I want to turn it over to TJ for our final topic. So, Coach, what's your vote?
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb's going to be the pick. If this is what I'm looking at, it's going to be CeeDee Lamb, and I'm going to outsmart guys in the ass end of the draft, and then use free agent money to pick up a running back that we don't even know. Don't forget, every year there's running backs that come out of nowhere that you never heard of the guy, and he's finishing in the top 10, top 20 in fantasy points. So that's where I'm going.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. So we put Coach, so you just did a RB0 draft that you weren't even comfortable doing, but you have to keep going now. So like this next pick.
This next pick is going to be Russell Wilson. I'm taking Russell Wilson in the 4th round. I don't give a shit what strategy I use because my league puts a premium on quarterbacks, 6 points for a passing touchdown. Russell Wilson's a lock for 30 passing touchdowns every single year. So in the 4th round, I'm going to take him, and I can assure you that Prescott and Rodgers will be gone before it gets to be tomorrow night. But yeah, it's going to be 3 receivers and then a quarterback.
All right, Coach. You had me, you lost me. I was so proud. I was making so much progress.
Yeah, he threw a curveball in the 4th round.
Yeah, and Matt Strongest agrees. Late round quarterbacks. Yeah.
Listen, right. I'm always the last guy to take a quarterback, but we put a premium on passing touchdowns, and then we put a premium on long plays this season, which is nonsense. But Wilson's going to probably be the 2nd highest scoring player in our entire league based on projections. So you got me here. If this is what I'm looking at, I'll be super happy. Super happy.
That's why I wanted to do it, just to see what it looked like. All right, so we're gonna close this off, and I'm gonna make probably a huge mistake. We're gonna hand the reins over to Coach TJ. He's gonna talk about Ben Simmons and any other NBA stuff that we probably should be thinking about.
Hi, Ray. Don't go running and hiding, Ray. So here's the thing. So we all know that what Ben Simmons did in the playoffs was so egregious that I think anybody who's a fan of the Sixers and went through the process, he's got to go. Like, his time is done. All right. So I think everybody who's a fan understands it. And whether I like him as a player, and God knows I defended that kid more than I defended any player in the NBA in my lifetime. He's got to go. It'll be good for him. It'll be good for us. Here's where you get me. When this dumbass comes out and says, I'll play for any team but Philly. So that's the first thing, right? So that's item one. So now this organization has no leverage, right? We all know you want out, and this is when you start picking up late first-round picks and 2 role players for the guy. Number 2, rumors out of Philadelphia, they want to trade him to Golden State for Steph and Clay. Like, are these people – like, do they have a drug problem? Is there anybody in the world that thinks that the Golden State is trading Klay Thompson for freaking Ben Simmons? It's craziness. So between those two things, Ray, what do you think happens with this guy? Like, what the hell is going on?
The biggest disappointment is there have been so many people on that team that have defended him. I mean, Brett Brown basically probably lost his job because of the way he defended Ben Simmons, the way he tried to make him a point guard. You know, people have been carrying his water since he's been in the league, like defending him like he's some little kid. And the way he pays them back is he turns around now and sticks it to them, basically. I mean, you know what? It's not the Sixers' fault that he can't shoot a free throw and has gotten worse for the last couple of years. And it is now unstartable. It's not the Sixers' fault that he can't shoot a jumper. Inside the paint, he can't shoot a jumper. It's not the Sixers' fault that he's playing out of position right now because he wants to be a point guard. I want to be a point guard for the Sixers too. It's not going to happen. I am just disappointed that so many people and players have defended him, and he's turned around and shivved them. He's a crumb bum. Trade him for whatever you can get. Case of basketballs, an autograph from Jason Tatum, whatever you can get.
But
good. I want to jump in. I had to leave for a second because I just went and practiced my free throws really quick. And that's more work than Ben Simmons has put in all fucking year. So I just did it just then. That's how quick and easy it is. Not only is this guy out of position, can't hit the open jumper, refuses to practice his free throws, get better at his shooting. Not only does he refuse to do all that, right? But he fell apart so badly on national TV when people couldn't wait to watch sports. And what are you going to get for a guy that falls apart like that on national TV? Like,
well, the names they're throwing around.
Wait. So 2 questions. Number 1, everyone, the 3 of you in a row have said he's playing on a position.
Yep.
What position should he play? Why is he playing point guard?
Oh,
if he's not a point guard?
I didn't say that. I don't think that. I definitely didn't say that. No. And I don't really give a shit if he can shoot. I don't care if he can make a free throw. Here's what I do care about. When you have a baseline dunk in a 2-point game, in game 6 of the playoffs, you have to dunk the effing ball. And his reluctance to be aggressive and the amount of years we've been going through this stuff, that's why he's got to go. Yeah, you're right, Mike. It's in his brain. He's not wired right. Like, he's not wired right.
And I asked you guys this last week, where I said, like, the media now has, like, the amount of presence and weight that media has on players now, it was totally in his head. And it hit other players too. That he there's no way he's going to even take the shot. There's no way they're going to do this. But what position should he be playing?
4.
He's a max player that you have to take out of the game with 2 minutes to play.
Is he a power forward, King? Is that what you're saying? 4?
Yes, he's a 4. He should play the 4.
Forward at the very least. He's got to be close to the basket. He can't take a jumper. You can't have him in the game when the game's on the line because they're going to hack him and put him on the free throw line. He can't. No max player that I know is a liability like that. He is a liability.
So why is he a point guard?
Because it's cool to have a 7-foot point guard. But here's my thing. Why can't we do this? Why why does he have to get his friggin' way? Like, he just signed a massive contract. Here's an idea. Sit in the corner for a year. Sit in the corner for 3 friggin' years. Like, I don't even care about taking the hit on the salary cap. When someone does this wrong by a fan base and by an organization, you know what? You're going to get garbage for him anyway because you're not getting Dame Lillard and you're not getting Steph Curry. You're going to be out of your mind if you think you're getting Steph Curry. And I think they really think something's not right. You know what? Pay him, stick him in the corner. That's what. Here,
Stick him in the corner with Markelle Fultz.
You're on the IR. That's it. You have an injured brain. Go sit in the corner for a year, play nothing, go mess up with the Kardashians, and we don't want you. That's what I would do.
And that's the point no one's brought up, Kev. No one brought up the Kardashians yet.
Which is good.
That's the problem with this whole situation.
It's probably a plus.
No, it's not a plus. That was not a plus.
I don't see how he can come back. The fans hate him. His coach doesn't like him. I mean, there's one thing. I've always defended Ben Simmons in the NBA. You know, I've always said, well, he can't shoot, right? But a lot of guys who can't shoot, but, you know, he can do a lot of other things. And I've always defended him. But when it comes to a point in time when you're not even trying to shoot and you're playing so passive in the playoffs, and I'm not saying anything that there's, you know, people don't know in the playoffs, but he was just so passive that he's not in any favor with the fans and with his coach. That's a bad situation. And the thing is, he can play the 4. He's played the 4 at LSU. He played the 4 even when he played in prep school. He can play the 4. The problem is he's not big enough to play the 4 right now. He needs to put on weight. If he's going to play the 4, he really needs to bulk up and play more down on the block. It's, you know, that's the situation he's in right now, where they have him playing point guard. He drives to the hole a lot, which brings Embiid out to the 3-point line. They play reverse when it should be the opposite. Embiid should be down low, and Simmons should be up top, but he can't shoot. The one thing I want to say about this is, it's funny, a little tidbit. When Ben Simmons played at Montverde Academy, you know, the famous prep school with, you know, D'Angelo Russell, R.J. Barrett, all those guys, he played at Montverde Academy. Do you know who also played at Montverde Academy? Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid ended up transferring out of Montverde Academy because, believe it or not, he wasn't getting enough playing time, I think, on the JV team. So they could have actually played together in prep school, but Embiid ended up transferring. So maybe this is like Ben Simmons' way of kind of like now giving it back to Embiid. I just think that, to get on back what I was saying, I just think that he's out of favor with the fans, out of favor with the coach, and they can't bring him back. Maybe you can get a CJ McCollum for him. I don't know.
So Stu, how far back do you go? Do you know where he played at junior high?
No, I mean, he's like one of those prodigy type players that you kind of know, that he kind of like
back then he was the next LeBron. He had it was the next LeBron hype. I mean, he was a big freaking deal. And at LSU, he scored. Right. Like, he scored the ball. It's not like the guy averaged 8 points a game at LSU. He scored. He just got something in his head now where he won't do anything. But by saying he won't report, as soon as you say that, boom, your value, you just crush your own value. And it screws the organization that put up with your shit for what? We're going on 5-6 years now.
But this is like the sunk cost fallacy. Like, everyone's still looking at him as like what his value was. He's nothing now. He never will be anything again. The sooner they just like cut bait and move on, like better off you are. He will never be anything anywhere. Like the stuff he says is so ridiculous. And I said it last week. Someone once asked him, like, you can't hit a jump shot. And he said, but I'm still an all-star. And then this year, they like, oh, what do you feel about being eliminated by the Bucks? Blah blah. He's like, it's hard to win. Look at the Nets. They lost 2. That's entirely the wrong mentality you want in somebody's head. And like, he's never gonna fix that. He's too rich to fix it. On top of everything else, he's never going to fix it.
I agree. I would never advise any team to trade a player of his stature in the preseason because you don't get any value right now. You normally wait till towards the trade deadline so you can get more value for the player. The problem is he's at this point, like I said, like how is he gonna coexist on that team? You don't think Joel Embiid wants to play with him anymore either. I mean, he said all the things in the media, all the right things, but I don't think Embiid wants to play with him. The coach doesn't like him. The fans don't like him. How can he play on the Sixers? I'll ask the Sixer fans. Yeah, right.
They don't want him.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing, Stu. He's probably a better overall player than Maxey, but I've just watched so many hours of Ben Simmons doing the same shit. I'd rather watch Maxey make new mistakes than watch Ben Simmons do the same stuff. And I think that the entire fan base feels that way. Like, give me Milton and Maxey, and let's just see what these guys can do. But as far as Simmons, you want to get value for him because the guy is an all-star. He was one of the top defensive players in the year. But by him saying he's not going to report, I think you don't even get CJ McCollum anymore. I think you're going to get 3/4 in a draft pick. That's what I think, right?
I think he's going to Sacramento. I think maybe get Buddy Hield and maybe a couple of picks. I would take that right now. I would take Hield shooting, and I would call it a day and get the draft pick. So I actually hope it is Sacramento.
There it is. There's your Ben Simmons briefing in September. Things I don't want to talk about in September is Ben Simmons.
Yeah, the biggest thing is you have to get rid of him. Like you can't have this like lingering, because even in a year from now, you're not going to remember that you got less than you should have got. You're going to be happy that he's gone.
Yeah,
like that's the way the world works. You just keep hanging on and hanging on. Like with Houston and Harden. He actually played for them last year. He's brought his fat ass up and down the court. It was awful. The players on the team hated him. All that stuff. You don't want that. Like just get rid of him. Anyway.
Can I ask a question?
I no longer feel.
Why do you want to make us all sad by ending with Ben Simmons? Like, did you do that on purpose? Like, now we're all depressed. We're probably all going to go and beat our dogs.
It was my idea. I want to talk to Ray.
I know, but now even Ray's depressed. Look at Ray. Look at Ray's face. Zero in on Ray.
Here's the good thing, though, and correct me if I'm wrong. 2 years ago, there was a lot of talk about trading Simmons because he couldn't shoot. And you would feel like if we trade this guy and he turns into a freaking Hall of Famer, then that's going to be terrible. Right now, I can assure you that boy is not going to the Hall of Fame. So now if we trade him and he makes a couple all-star teams in the middle of nowhere, good for you, buddy. But, I don't feel that regret that I would have felt 2 years ago. And it's like, if we trade Simmons and he turns into Magic Johnson, that'll be, embarrassing. And I don't feel like that's possible anymore.
He better
the only way he goes to the Hall of Fame is he buys a ticket.
All right.
Ben Simmons.
All right, okay, go ahead, because I'm ready to wrap this up.
No, I'm just saying, look, I hate talking about, Ben Simmons or the Jets, the Eagles, about stuff that's, depressing. You know what I mean? Can't we end with, talking about, somebody who's, making the most out of themselves? We always end up down these depressing paths. I don't know why, but we like to do that to ourselves. But, Ben Simmons, you got to get rid of him. What are you going to get for him? Not much on the dollar. So you got to just suck that one up and move forward. And if you do it quick and you pull the Band-Aid off, you might be better off for it.
Exactly. All right, so
plus you can't get 4 on 5 in the playoffs on offense.
On that note, I'm thinking about 5 people I want to get rid of. It's you 5. But before I do that, on a positive note, anyone that hasn't watched the Untold Crimes and Penalties on Netflix about the Danbury Trashers.
Yeah, it's good. I started to watch it.
You need to watch it immediately. It's unbelievable.
Kid, the mafia kid from the hockey. Oh yeah.
Apparently, some guy who allegedly was associated with the Genovese family in New York. He was in Connecticut. He ran all the trash there.
Real Tony Soprano. Yeah.
Decided to buy his kid a minor league hockey team. And they brought in all bangers and bruisers, the first Nigerian guy to play in the NHL was on
Gretzky's brother.
Yep, Mike Rupp, who won a cup with the Devils. There was a lockout that year. I highly, highly, highly recommend you guys watch it. It was one of the coolest things I've seen in a little while. So our barometer is pointing up. On that note, for the King, for Brother Ray, for the coach, for Mastradamus, for Big Stu, we're going to wrap it up. This is Bar Fongool on September 2nd, 2021, and we are out.
And Simmons.